Now, instead of starting out this video by saying yes Yamaha, I'm going to start by saying why Yamaha? Why did you get our hopes up? Why did you raise our expectations when you said that you're bringing your big bikes to our country? And why did you raise our expectations when you said the R3 and the MT-03 were coming? Because those expectations have fallen flat on the ground immediately with the absurd pricing that both of these bikes have come in. Yes, this is making its debut. Yes, this is making its comeback, but they seem to fall flat right before they even go on sale with that ridiculously high price tag. Are there any redeeming qualities that will make you overlook the high asking price? Let's find out. The motor remains unchanged from the last time the R3 was on sale in the country. The 321cc parallel twin mill makes the same 42 bhp and 29.5 Nm, and it is completely devoid of any electronic intervention. So no ride-by-wire, no riding modes, no traction control or whatever. And the same holds true for the MT-03, as it provides a raw and pure riding experience. In fact, even the gearing and final drive between the two motorcycles is identical. Now, both motorcycles might have the same engine with the same tune, but it feels more worthy on the R3. And even though this might have better aerodynamic efficiency, you will be able to reach higher top speeds on this bike. And at the BIC, I saw around 168 kilometers per hour on this, whereas this was struggling at around 160, 162. But having said that, there is no sense of drama or action from either one of these motorcycles. Yes, there is love to be had and joy to be extracted, but all of that is concentrated very high up in the rev ceiling, for which you'll need a racetrack such as this or a very open highway, where this motor can sit happily at triple-digit speeds with no vibrations whatsoever. So while it is good out here on the racetrack, it is also good as a touring option, certainly over here. But if you want something that is a thrilling, mental or an overload of sensation, you won't find it on either one of these. Now, both motorcycles from the tank backwards remain the same. So the seat height is a fairly accessible 780 mm, which is on the lower side. So if you're a larger rider or a bigger rider, you would feel it to be a bit cramped, especially the lower half, like this. But having said that, this is a lot more spacious when you compare it to the likes of the KTM 390 Duke, especially the new version. And when you consider the MT-03, this feels like a bit more comfortable motorcycle of the two. But I genuinely think that the R3 has the more confidence-inspiring riding stance of the two, especially when you're out on the racetrack or you're doing your weekend thrills. And in that sense, this puts you in a nice spot to attack those bends with a lot of zest and confidence. And since this is not contorted to suit a racer's mentality like it is on the R15, so you're nice and sitting easy, your upper body is not as aggressive as it is on the R15, this certainly does feel like a better touring option. And yes, I have gone touring on the old R3, and this should continue that very well. And the way you sit on both of these motorcycles also makes an impact to the way these two attack the corners. And certainly it's the R3 which turns out to be the more joyous and fun motorcycle, because firstly you're loading up the front more, so your turn-ins are much better, and there is a lot of joy when you can carry a lot of lean angle and at pretty high speeds. So in that department, this R3 feels a lot better. Plus, direction changes are far more confident because the USD fork provides a lot of front-end feel, something that was lacking from the previous telescopic forks, which are quite mushy on the previous generation motorcycle. Yes, there is a little caveat here that the tires on offer aren't the best because this is a CBU product, and as such, Yamaha has to continue to offer it with these Dunlop tires, and they aren't quite as sticky or as grippy, and they don't want to turn in as much as you ask of them. And considering that this is already quite a pricey motorcycle, asking you to spend another 20-25,000 rupees for, say, the Apollo Alpha H1s or the TVS Pro Talk Extremes, which are far grippier tires, seems a bit disheartening to me. But please, if you get the bike, get those tires. And the tire issues become even more apparent on the MT-03 as it sort of tends to become light and flighty. And this bike forces you to commit even more into the bends, forces you to push the bike harder into the bends, and as a result it tends to become a little twitchy. I know this might not become as apparent in the real world, but out here on the racetrack, the sense of amazement is sort of lost, which makes me a bit sad. Despite the small bumps on the main straight of the BIC, where both bikes felt quite absorptive, it would be hard to comment on the overall ride quality of the two Yamaha 300s. Braking performance was adequate, but again, there weren't any major hard braking zones to deal with for these two motorcycles. So all of this remains to be seen for our road test video. The R3 has adopted the outgoing R3’s design language and looks pretty handsome. While there's not much new in terms of design in the latter half of the motorcycle, the front end refresh certainly gives off a sportier appeal to the Super Sport. In that sense, the MT-03 does look like the elder sibling of the MT-15. You get a similar face as the 155cc Naked, the bulkiness is more apparent, and the typical cyan color combination is visually exciting. Both bikes have managed to maintain the high quality levels that Yamaha used to be known for. And we couldn't find anything disparaging to say about the finish and build of the bikes. Now, I'm not saying every motorcycle in the country needs to have a color TFT dash, connectivity suite, traction control, slipper clutch, quick shifter and whatnot. But if Yamaha could provide that on the smaller R15 V4, even in its just a top spec version, I wonder why they couldn't do this on the 300s, and it seems like a big miss, especially the quick shifter and a slipper clutch would have been appreciated on the R3 because it would have elevated the finesse level of riding this motorcycle around a racetrack. And now coming to the biggest disappointment of both of these motorcycles, the asking price. Yes, I told you it was going to be a CBU, and in fact Yamaha has priced this at an absurdly high 4.65 lakh ex-showroom India. And this, I thought it was going to be 20,000 rupees cheaper, but in fact it is only 5,000 rupees less. So when you factor in that this bike is nearly 1.2, 1.3 lakh dearer than the new KTM 390 Duke, this bike just doesn't make sense at all. You could make a little bit of a case for the R3, but even then, when you consider the fact that the new Aprilia RS457, which is a twin-cylinder motorcycle, makes more power than this and has a lot more electronics and fanciness on offer, that's priced at rupees 4.1 lakh ex-showroom. Would you still go for the R3? I mean, it's hard to overlook the extremely steep price tag. And that's sad, because these, in fact this at least, is a beautiful bike that one will cherish. Now, I can't in my whole heart recommend you spend that much money for a bike like this. But if you will end up buying at least this bike, you're getting a good experience. Do let me know what you would do. Would you rather get this bike or the RS457? And also remember, the new RC390 is coming in 2024. Are you waiting for that? Do let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share this video. Ultimately, our track day here at BIC is ending on a sad note. Thank you so much for watching.